Hi everyone, my name is Shelby Miller, and I am the Manager of Scientific Affairs and Nutrition Education at Natural Grocers. And I'm here to welcome you to our virtual nutrition education class series. This week, we are going to be talking about the foundations for building a healthy immune system with super simple ways to support immunity. Today's presentation is with Charmaine Stockstill, the Nutritional Health Coach expert at the Design District store in Denver, Colorado. She earned her degree as a certified nutrition therapist, which is a master's level program from the Nutrition Therapy Institute in Denver. She has been in the natural foods industry since 1999 and an employee of Natural Grocers since 2004. She enjoys reading, organic gardening, and traveling. And partaking in ongoing nutrition education, Charmaine offers a high level of knowledge and understanding in her free nutrition coaching sessions and group classes at Natural Grocers and in the Denver community. Charmaine, thanks again for being here today. Please take it away.
Thank you, Shelby. So I want to keep today's presentation nice and simple and talk about easy ways that we can all support our immune system. And these are good tips and advice for both adults and children. So first, we're going to talk about daily ways to help support the immune system. And then later, we're going to talk about timely support for use as needed. I want to mention at the beginning of this class and every class that this class is not intended to diagnose, mitigate, or treat any kind of diseases. Dietary supplements and foods can interact with prescription medication. Become informed about the possible interactions. Real quickly about the Natural Grocers difference and what kind of sets us apart from other foods, other grocery stores, especially those in the natural foods industry. So as Shelby mentioned earlier, I have been in the natural foods industry since 1999, and I got a job with Natural Grocers in 2004, about a week after I moved to Denver. And so before I moved here, I worked for small independent stores as well as our main competitor. And I can say with confidence that Natural Grocers has the highest quality standards with the best prices. And so we see that our number one founding principle is a focus on education. And that's definitely a big part of it. But, you know, quality, affordable foods should be easily obtained by everybody, not just those with money, lots of money. And so what we're really focusing on with Natural Grocers and what kind of sets us apart is our science-based nutrition education that is free to the community. And that's largely what sets us apart. My job in particular is very unique for sure, because I'm really proud to be a very public representative of this company so that I'm able to share nutrition education either in seminars, back when we used to do them in person, or now that we're having to adapt to how the world is now by doing them virtually. I'm also doing free one-on-one coaching sessions, and it's all free of charge. So I don't work on commission. So I have this free nutrition support, the highest quality out there, and the best prices for everybody. And that's really what has kept me working for Natural Grocers for the past 16 and a half years now, is I'm just really proud to be part of this company and spreading the knowledge that they're wanting to share. So let's move on to the immune system paradigm. So the immune system is a very complex system, and I think most of us don't really think about the immune system until it's compromised or threatened. And, you know, the immune system is constantly working for us day and night, protecting us and defending us against invaders that can make us sick. And by supporting the immune system, it will help protect us from disease, keep us from getting sick, and fight pathogens. And so while this paradigm holds a lot of truth, the current state of the world exposes a new way of looking at the immune system. And one of the ways that I really want to focus on today is we want to make sure that we've got a good balanced immune system. We don't want an overactive immune system, but we don't want it to be underactive. We want it to be nice and balanced in the middle. And so your immune system is located all over your body. It's not like you can really just point to your immune system. It's all around. And it's largely a reflection of the health of the whole system. And so, think about the times a year where most of us tend to get more sick, and it is in the winter months. And, think about how different our lives tend to be in the winter months versus the warm months. So here in Denver, it's really cold and dry, and it's dark by 4:30 this time of year. Because it's dark so early, we tend to not get as much exercise. We definitely tend to not go outside as much. We tend to eat poorly, a little bit more stressed out. Sometimes we're not sleeping as much as we should. Mentally, we may not be in a great place. And a lot of times we tend to use the holidays as an excuse to just kind of drink a little bit more alcohol, eat a little bit more foods that maybe aren't going to be as good for us. And, and I think what we want to do is take a balanced approach to that. So we should still be able to enjoy ourselves this time of year, balance it out in other areas so that we're not, just destroying our immune system. And so we want to think about doing things in our life to help support mental health, healthy inflammation, healthy aging, support endocrine health. Anything that we do to support the whole host is going to benefit our immune system. And it's also going to work in the opposite direction. If we're not doing things make our body healthy, our immune system is definitely going to be suffering for that. And so we want to support the health of the whole host to help support healthy immune function. And so we can think about, just finding that right balance in our life, not having too much on one side and too little on the other side. And that's what tends to make us get sick easier and stay sick longer. So we want to help to create that balance. And so that's what I want to focus on today is, as your nutritional health coach, let's talk about, some easy dietary recommendations, some supplement options and things like that. But when we're thinking, as we're sitting here listening to this presentation, I was thinking about what is going to be the easiest thing that really most of us need support on and all of us really could benefit from. And let's think about just, right now as you're sitting in your chair, check your posture. I want you to sit up straight, roll your shoulders back, and take a nice deep breath. And deep breath in from your nose and out through your mouth. Take a really nice, deep cleansing breath and see how much better you look, you feel, and you're able to really concentrate. By doing this is kind of like exercise for our lungs. We're working our lungs, we're stretching them, we're bringing in all this oxygen into our system. This is something you can do anytime, anywhere. It's completely free. And it just has so many benefits. I'd seen an interview a while back, this was a few years ago, with Dr. Andrew Weil. And the person interviewing him asked the question, what is the one thing that most humans need to do to better their health? And he said, we need to learn how to breathe better. And I think both me and the host kind of snickered at it. And I thought, well, that's kind of ridiculous. But he made me realize how shallow of a breather I am, especially when I'm really stressed and especially if I'm sitting at the computer a lot or just kind of sitting down. And so by being aware of that, it made me aware of how poor of a breather I am. So this is the thing, before we move through and start talking about other great ways we can support our immune system, this is going to be the first thing I want you to try while you're sitting there at home is just sit up straight, roll your shoulders back, take a nice deep breath, and then we're going to move forward. And one of the things that you're going to notice is if you kind of make this a habit of sitting this way and breathing this way, you notice your posture is going to get a lot better. You look a lot better, and that little gut that we've been kind of developing from being hunched over like this kind of naturally goes away on its own. So let's kind of keep that in mind as we're going through this PowerPoint here. So definitely malnutrition is going to be the most common cause of immunodeficiency worldwide. And knowing this, let's talk about some easy, great foods, nutrients, and options to help support our system. These are all backed by scientific research. This is something that I really appreciate about Natural Grocers and people like Shelby and people that are in, the huge variety of these brilliant minds that we have in the nutrition education department who are just really dedicated to this scientific research to make sure that the information I'm providing is all backed by science. And one of the things I do kind of love about my job is all these brilliant minds at the nutrition education department. They do all the hard work, doing the research, creating these presentations, and all I have to do is just take their brilliant information and just kind of make it my own. So thank you, Shelby, for doing the majority of the work on this. So as far as this presentation, when Shelby and I were discussing this, we kind of had our ideas of the main things that we wanted to discuss, keeping this really simple. We also had some advice from other people. We wanted to just kind of get several different people's opinions. And these were the ones that we had found to be probably the most beneficial. These would be foods that you can get at any Natural Grocers anywhere, and also very affordable options here. So, so thank you to everybody who had kind of contributed to this. We're going to be talking today about, daily foods that we can be doing, daily supplements to help support us, and then timely supplements for as needed. I want to mention, too, before we move forward, that you can't out-supplement an unhealthy diet. Supplements are a supplement to a healthy diet. They are not a replacement for an unhealthy diet. So let's just kind of keep in mind that as we're moving forward. Let's start with the foods, and this is one of my favorite topics. One of my favorite classes is probiotics. If we're thinking about supporting the immune system, like I mentioned earlier, the immune system is all over, but and it is very interconnected with other systems inside our body. But 70 to 80% of the immune system is along the gut lining, and so this is kind of our first line of defense. And so what we want are probiotics, and probiotics literally means pro, which is for, biotics, which is life. Probiotics, they are for life and so important for us. And really what we want to do is have a good variety of all of these different bacteria inside our gut that are going to be working with us and supporting our immune system. And what's really neat about these probiotics is that they have this immune modulating benefits. They're really good for balancing the immune system. They're not going to be overstimulatory, and they're definitely not going to be suppressing. They're going to be working with our own system to work with us. So very, very critical way that it's going to be really unique. And so let's talk about some of these benefits here. So we have probiotics are going to help with the healthy production of secretory IgA antibodies. And IgA is one of the most important immune supportive proteins inside the gut. And with the immune system, probiotic bacteria modulate inflammation and teach immune cells how to be effective without being overactive. So this is really, really a critical point. A balanced a balanced inflammatory response throughout the body. This supports the resolution phase of the immune system. We're moving things out. The stuff that we don't want in our body is helping to move it out and get it out of the body. And it also acts as a strong and healthy gastrointestinal barrier. So this gut barrier is our first line of defense. The great thing about Natural Grocers, and really at any location you go to, is we have a huge variety of probiotic-rich foods. And, back when we used to be able to do classes, and, I had this wonderful demo kitchen, what I loved to do was to teach the class, and at the end of the class, have everybody try all these delicious probiotic-rich options that Natural Grocers has. So I think we're all familiar with, yogurt and sauerkraut, but have you tried things like kefir, which is like a drinkable yogurt? We've got kombucha, sauerkraut, or if you want to take it a step further, how about a little bit of kimchi? Miso is definitely going to be one of my favorites this time of year because I can add it to broth and consume it warm. And one thing to remember is every culture throughout history consumed their own form of cultured foods, fermented foods. And with the invention of refrigeration, it wasn't quite as necessary as it was before. And so I feel like a lot of Americans, or just humans in general, have kind of fallen off of having these as part of their daily diet. And one of the things I like to do as your nutritional health coach is get you to kind of start bringing those back into your diet and try a variety of different types, because all of them are good in their own sense. So I'll say one example of a way I could do this in my meals for the day, and it's winter time, so it's really cold, and I want to use these foods to help support my system. So let's say I'm going to have a big bowl of hot oatmeal in the morning, and I'm going to throw a little yogurt inside there. I'm going to have a little bit of miso with my lunch. Maybe I'm going to have a kombucha in the afternoon and some, sour cream on my tacos for dinner. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we can be incorporating these into our diet. And we do sell these in supplements as well. And those are fine. And I like to say, let's just get a variety of all of them. I want to eat these foods and really, because Natural Grocers has so many wonderful varieties, I want to eat these as a food and, know that the supplements are just there for the days where maybe I'm just not able to get it through the diet alone. So love probiotics and just so many benefits across the board. So let's try to find ways first that we can start adding those to our diet on a regular basis. Next, so me and Shelby, when we were talking about this, we were saying, well, we want to have chicken broth, but yeah, we also really want to have garlic. And well, we're kind of going back and forth. And it was like, really, both of us were talking about it. It was like, I don't know when I would ever make chicken broth without garlic. So let's just have this be a combination of both of them. And so garlic, we'll talk about that first. So it is a rich in unique sulfur-containing compounds, which can help to support healthy levels of immune cell numbers, types, and other functions, as well as to modulate inflammation. Liver loves garlic. So does your skin. There's a lot of skin benefits of garlic. And I'm a really big fan. So this is another one where you can definitely get it in foods, and I can't really think of any savory dish that I make that doesn't have garlic in it. We do sell garlic in supplement form as well, but really I like the real deal on this. If you're not a huge fan of chopping up garlic yourself, we do have the minced versions and all of that in a jar, but really the real deal is going to be the best way to go. And there is just so many different ways to consume garlic. And if the sharp flavor of raw garlic is too much for you, try roasting it. And you see how, with a little bit of olive oil and salt, and you see how this sharp flavor turns really, really sweet. And after roasting it, I mean, you can even just spread it like butter. So really, really good option for your immune system, for your skin, for your liver, for your heart. I mean, just so many benefits across the board. Let's just start incorporating this all the time. Second one we're definitely going to be talking about is chicken broth. And so with this, I just want to be clear. I'm not talking about, the overly processed sodium bomb with the slimy noodles that's just full of MSG that you would get from, a regular grocery store. I'm talking about using food to make our body stronger. And so I want good quality chicken broth. Chicken bone broth is definitely a great option. And what I was thinking about too is, there's so many different benefits with it, but if you look at a lot of different Asian cultures tend to have brothy soups for breakfast. And this is a habit that I think a lot of Americans would really benefit from, especially this time of year. So, I was just telling Shelby last night, we got this crazy windstorm that came into Denver last night. Temperature dropped. Even my power went out last night. It was so bad. This morning when I got up to get ready for work, it was 17 degrees outside. It was really, really windy. And, that's where I'm thinking, all right, I want some broth to warm me up. So I did some broth and I made a quick egg drop soup. And it's so unbelievably easy to make. And then you can just throw it in your, like your travel mug and take it with you out the door. I mean, it's just a really easy way to get broth. And I think this is something that a lot of Americans would really benefit from, whether you're doing it for breakfast or through other meals. Getting these brothy soups are going to really have a lot of benefit for us. And when we're thinking about ways to start your morning, starting it with a nice brothy soup like this one pictured here, it just looks so wonderful. Think about how much better your morning and really the rest of the day is going to look if you start with that versus a bowl of cold cereal and milk. And the reason why we want this is that chicken broth is going to support the immune system by modulating inflammation and supporting healthy mucus production in the upper respiratory tract. And so this is going to be critical, especially for those of us living in these really dry, cold climates, because having a dry sinuses and respiratory tract, that is going to weaken your immune system. That's supposed to be one of your first lines of defense against foreign invaders. So if it's really dry, it's going to be able to get into your system much easier. So we don't want it to be overly dry. We don't want it to be overly mucousy. We want it healthy right there in the middle. And so think if I'm sitting over my bowl of soup, that steam is going to help. It's already just from sitting over it and smelling that, that's already on its own is going to help to moisturize my sinuses. Chicken is also a rich source of cysteine, a building block of glutathione, so your liver is definitely going to appreciate that. And even chicken soup is going to be a great base for a lot of other immune-friendly foods like leeks and mushrooms, lemon, other herbs and spices, and then, of course, garlic. So it's kind of this delicious base on its own that blends well with so many other foods that we're going to be adding to it. So love that. Moving on, of course, one of the things that we tend to think of when we're under the weather is just good old lemon and honey. And this duo right here is going to be really important because lemons are going to contain antioxidants and can support the immune system due to their rich content of vitamin C. And what's perfect is the cold winter months is citrus time. So this is the time of year where citrus is in season. And so honey, when we're combining it with the honey by itself has been seen across multiple randomized controlled trials to support healthy mucus production. Here we go again, understanding the importance of healthy mucus production and to support the health of the upper respiratory tract as well as support sleep in children. So just kind of an added bonus. So think when you are sick and you're kind of mucusy and it's kind of getting a little bit thick and that can become a real problem, that lemon tends to just really kind of cut through that mucus and all that extra fluid is really going to help to get things moving. And that's what we want. We don't want that stagnicity. We want to help to support our body's functions, which is to move it out. But if you're super dehydrated and you don't have this support, then it's just going to be so much more difficult. And so this lemon and honey, we can even add things like tea to it. I like cinnamon, cayenne, if you really want to get things moving. That really gets the job done. Soothes the respiratory tissues and helping the respiratory tract to maintain humidity, which is definitely going to be important. So keep yourself hydrated when you're, this time of year, one of the most important things we can do is keep ourselves hydrated. So when we're, in Denver, we've got, we're looking forward to it getting all the way up to 30 degrees today. That means my heater is going to be running almost nonstop. And so it's going to dry out my entire area. So really, getting a humidifier might be something that could be helpful, but fluids on the inside is what's going to be really important. One of the things I don't know if you can see it so well on the label, and I'm going to show it right here, is one of the things you notice on our Natural Grocers honey, as well as I would assume pretty much all the honeys that we sell here, is that they say that they're raw and unfiltered. And this is going to be a really important thing because there's a lot of really essential nutrients that are inside honey that can be damaged from heat. So we don't want to be filtering it out because we want to retain all of those benefits that's naturally occurring inside honey. So when you are choosing your honey, first off, make sure that it's actually honey. And if you look on the label, some, very poor quality honeys aren't even actual honey. It's just honey flavor. So make sure that you're getting actual honey and that it's raw and unfiltered. Because did you know that honey is actually the one food that, if it's properly sealed, will never ever go bad? And they actually, it'll crystallize if it gets cold, and that's totally fine. Just, warm it up a little bit. Don't boil it because it is a little bit heat sensitive. But they have found honey in Egyptian tombs that were sealed properly that are still good. And so this is one of those just fascinating foods that will never, ever go bad as long as you're storing it correctly. So just cover it up real good. If it gets crystallized because it's in your cold kitchen, just, what I'll do is just put it next to something warm or just scoop it out. Even having like a warm spoon can help it to scoop out a little bit easier, but definitely make this part of your routine. And this drink here, even though we're, recommending it for its immune benefits, there are a lot of other benefits to it, digestive wise, metabolism wise. The liver is going to really appreciate this. And so, think of this drink like our broth base. This is your base. Do I want to just have it as is, and that's totally fine? Or do I want to add some tea, maybe a little bit of cinnamon or cayenne or just other things just to make it more effective? You can even put garlic in there. So definitely a good option. So these are going to be what we're starting with, some food options. So let's flip on to supplemental options. And so when we're speaking on immune health, vitamin D is definitely the first thing most of us are going to be thinking of. And for all of us who are contributing to this presentation, vitamin D is the first thing that we're going to be thinking of. And the reason why is because almost all immune cells express vitamin D receptors. So I even say, so taking 1,200 IUs of vitamin D daily was shown to support immune function in the upper respiratory tract. Reduces the creation and activation of overactive immune cells. So again, we want this balance beam in our immune system. We don't want it to be overly stimulated. We don't want it to be understimulated. We want just this, kind of the Goldilocks, and we want it right in the middle. And the reality is that we should be getting vitamin D from the sun. Most people just really aren't. A lot of people are spending too much time indoors, whether it's office work or just I work retail. So I'm inside most of the day. When it's really warm outside and I'm able to spend sometimes outdoor, I want to get sunburned. I have to put sunscreen on, and that's going to block my body's ability to make vitamin D. And where you're located is also going to determine whether or not you're able to make vitamin D in the months where you need it the most. So in Denver, because we're not getting any UVB rays from November through March, that means I'm not making any vitamin D. No matter how much time I'm spending outside, I'm just really not making any vitamin D in the winter months when I need it the most. And so that's where supplementing it is going to be really, really important for myself and for my kids. Vitamin D, we think of it in the short term, but it's critical to get on a long-term basis to provide that long-term immune support. Vitamin D status often decreases during the winter months, so that's where really supplementing with vitamin D during the winter months is especially important for supporting the immune function. And so I want to also kind of show some of my favorites with this slide. And my favorite vitamin D is actually the one that's pictured here. So it's made by Now. This one is 100 IUs per drop. And so with this one, so this is one, it tastes like absolutely nothing. I use it for myself and for my kids. So my husband and I need a little bit higher dose than they do. And so I can just drop it directly in their mouth, or mix it with something. Vitamin D is fat soluble, so you do want to make sure you're taking it with food. Morning or night doesn't matter, but with food does. But this one, if you're doing 4 drops, which is typically a children's dose, 527 servings inside here. Obviously, my husband and I need to take more, so it won't quite last that long, but this is going to be one of your best deals. It's under $7 for 2 ounces, and just such a great option. So, but one of the things that we want to think of in this critical time of year is avoiding vitamin D deficiency and other nutrient deficiencies is going to be the best way to support your immune system in the long term. So don't wait till you're already sick. Avoid that deficiency from happening in the first place. So moving on, I think vitamin C is going to be one of the most publicly recognized, supplements to help support the immune system. So like they're showing here, citrus is going to be a fantastic way to get vitamin C through food sources. And we are in the season for citrus right now. And if you haven't tried Cara oranges, this is the thing that I've been like pushing on everybody. I mean, we have a very large variety of citrus that we're able to get right now. But Cara oranges are just, they're only around for a small time of year, but when you can get them, I would highly recommend that you do. And one of the things you'll notice as soon as you cut into it is that color is so rich and dark. I mean, it almost looks like a grapefruit. I mean, it's got that rich, dark color and just one of the most incredible flavors with it too. So the reason why we really want that vitamin C is many of its immune supportive benefits are attributed to its antioxidant function. And vitamin C aids in the immune system by stimulating rapid immune support. Boom. So this is going to be helping your immune system respond more quickly. And so this is why this time of year I eat an orange every single day. And Cara oranges are definitely going to be the first, my first choice. Any one of them I like, but really that's the way. So I can make sure that I'm getting it every single day. Supplementing vitamin C is really simple, and we have a huge variety to choose from. So a lot of people really like the chewable vitamin C's because it's a treat. It's something that you don't mind taking, and I mean, it tastes really good. We've got chewables, we've got liquids, powders, capsules, pine release, liposomal. My favorite, though, I like the FRC. So now makes these, there's the emergencies. Trace Minerals has a good one. American Health has a good one. But the reason why I like these is that you get the vitamin C along with the electrolytes. So with the vitamin C, you're also hydrating yourself. And I can, especially now that I'm having to wear a mask all day long on my ship, I'm getting really bad about staying hydrated. And what I like about those drinks, and all of them are good, it doesn't matter which one it was, they taste good. And so it just gets me to drink more water. Sometimes I'm just sick of drinking plain water. And so they taste good. They've got those electrolytes. They've got the vitamin C. And this can be really critical if you are sick and you're sweating a lot, your nose is running, you're sneezing a lot, you're losing fluids. This can be an easy way to get those fluids back in and really hydrate your body. So, but like I said earlier, I mean, we have a huge variety of vitamin C, and we have versions for everybody. So sometimes it's just finding which one is going to be the best one for you and which one is the most convenient. So, but that's definitely going to be my favorite. Ooh, on to mushrooms. And this is another topic that I really, really like. A while back, I think it was last year, Shelby had made an incredible presentation on mushrooms that the nutritionists were able to share with our staff, and then were then able to share publicly. She did such a great job on it. And, it really made me realize how important mushrooms are to our health and how unique they are compared to a lot of other foods. So we do have these mushrooms that can be used in a culinary sense, although some of the ones that are more medicinal may not have the best culinary flavor to them. And that's where it might make more sense to get them in a supplement form. And really, if you're getting them in a culinary sense, are you able to use them regularly? It can help if you're getting them in a dried form, because you can always just rehydrate them in water or broth or wine, or just crumble them into, whatever foods that you're cooking just to get them in that way. But the reason why I like the mushrooms is that mushrooms contain hundreds of different bioactive compounds that exhibit the, free radical scavenging, inflammation modulating, and immune supporting activity. And they have these cell blocks made out of glucans, and these glucans interact with receptors on the immune cells to support or modulate immune function. So again, we have this wonderful balancing effect to them, which is what allows us to be able to take them long term. Most studies show that glucans support the early stages of immune function that are active during the first 1 to 5 days of the immune response. And so if I'm going to pick one, and this I really struggled with, and I really, really thought was like, okay, if I'm going to pick one, and, Shelby's presentation was so fantastic. I was looking through it. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to pick one, I'm going to pick reishi. And reishi mushrooms are just kind of this overall system builder. I use them a lot for athletes, especially athletes here in Colorado, because if you're in Denver, we're the mile high state. We're a mile high above sea level. So we're already working at 17% less oxygen just being here. But if I want to go skiing or snowboarding or hiking or anything, that means I'm going to go even higher altitude, which means even less oxygen. So that's where that deep breathing definitely can help a lot. But reishi definitely is going to be kind of my go-to. If I have to pick just one, I suppose it would be reishi as an overall system builder that I think most everybody would benefit from. Turkey tail would be the one that I would pick if I'm really just thinking immune. Chaga, I really like because I have a lot of skin issues, and I'm really, really dry here in Denver. So I love chaga because it is so good for the skin. It's just this really wonderful one. In reality, what I think I'm going to choose, and what I tend to recommend a lot with my customers, is the Stamets 7. This is Paul Stamets' company, and I really do respect him. I've been able to see him speak before, and I've listened to several interviews with him. I've read several of his books, and this guy he's the mushroom guru. He is the one that is just, making me have a better understanding of how important mushrooms are. But when I see how great all these different types are, it's like, I don't want to be buying a bunch of different supplements. I would rather get what's called the Stamets 7, and they even said on the label, daily immune support. So with this one being as popular as it is, we have it in a liquid tincture. We have it in a spray, which is good for traveling. I've got the capsules and then the powder. And if you can do the powder, that's where you're going to get the most for your money. But it's just, which way is going to be the most convenient way and the way that you're going to be most likely to do it on a very regular basis. So that would definitely be the one that I would think of. And it's one of those things that it's like, you may be thinking that you're taking your mushrooms for your immune system, but really start paying attention to how much it benefits all of your other systems. So how much better is my energy, athletic support, stress support, especially right now, brain, skin, and then of course immune. So again, these are like our probiotics kind of, and that vitamin D, these are the immune modulators. They help to just kind of balance out that immune system. And that's why we're able to take them on a daily basis. So these are our daily options. Now let's talk about timely support. So these would be supplements we would only really think of on an as needed basis. So these are the ones that might be a little bit more stimulatory to the immune system, not necessarily not dangerous to take on a daily basis, but we may want to think of them on an as needed basis. And so the first thing that most everybody is going to think of for when they first start getting sick would be elderberry. And I mean, take a look at its color. When you really look at elderberry, so we got a picture of it here in the background, we see this insanely dark purple berry that is just really, really full of a plethora of phytonutrients that are going to function as these free radical scavengers and help to maintain cellular integrity. Both are going to be important components of healthy immunity. They also support immune function of the respiratory tract. And so one of the things that you're going to notice with the majority of the elderberry supplements is that they're either going to be in a lozenge or a syrup form. And really what you want it to do is sit on your throat. You don't want to just swallow your syrup and drink some water or just crunch down that lozenge and swallow it. You really want it to be sitting on your throat to really get those benefits. And elderberry is going to help to modulate inflammation due to its free radical scavenging property. And look at that color. That really gives you an idea of the nutrient quality inside that berry. And so Yeah, so we definitely want to have that pretty often. I'm really a big fan of elderberry, and I really like them. My favorite, though, because we definitely do have a large variety to choose from here. And what's great is like all these companies are becoming really competitive with each other, so we see the prices going down on them to gain their edge. So we love when that happens. But of all of them, and we have a lot of really great ones, Honey Gardens is definitely going to be my favorite because not only does it have a really good high potency elderberry, when you notice if you're taking it, you'll sometimes see like little specks of the skins and stuff. They're not filtering it out. So the skins, like a lot of produce items, many of the nutrients are going to be found inside the skin. So I don't want to necessarily filter all of that out. So if you notice that, it's totally fine. It's meant to be that way. That's definitely what we want. When you pour this syrup out onto a spoon, it's so rich in elderberry, it almost looks black. It's so dark purple, it almost looks black. But the other thing is like, so we're combining that high quality elderberry with actual honey. So it's not corn syrup, it's not, other thickeners, it's actual honey, which both of them are going to have their own benefits. So it thickens it, but provides all of those same benefits we were talking about earlier when we were talking about the benefits of honey. And what's also cool about this one is that they use apple cider vinegar as their preservative. So you get a little bit of that vinegar flavor. I don't really think it's that noticeable. But then you get this really high quality preservative that's just going to benefit your body even more. And so they also add a little bit of propolis in there, which, comes from the bees as well. Which propolis it tastes horrible. But having it in this makes it a lot of the elderberry and the honey really helps to balance that out because we really want the propolis on our throat when we're not feeling well to really get that respiratory and throat benefit. But man, propolis on its own, if you've ever had it, is horrible. So, but inside here, you really just don't even notice it. So you get its benefits without having to taste it. So really, really big fan of this one. They do make a drink and they have the little powders that you can add to water, which I would only really use when you're traveling. But Honey Gardens, I think, is going to be the best bet for your elderberry. Next up, let's talk about herbal supplements. And when we're talking about the immune system, obviously the first one I think we're all going to think about is echinacea. And so echinacea is the most researched plant in the world. And so that tells you something right there. And when we think about it, the reason why it's so popular is that echinacea is going to create more Pac-Man. That's what I like to think of them. And these guys are going to, in our immune system, these guys are going to go in and consume and clean up and dispose of the garbage out of our bodies. So it has this really, really beneficial aspect to it. And herbalists kind of go back and forth on this. I was always, from my training from many, many years ago, was saying that echinacea is really good at stimulating the immune system. So it's not really something we want to think of as a long-term use. I want to think of it early and often at that first sign. And so when you're even at the point where you're like, I kind of feel like I'm getting a little bit of a sore throat. I don't really know. Well, you probably are. And it's a good idea just to have that echinacea ready for you so that you can really start, giving your immune system the support right when it needs it. And so it's going to support with healthy white blood cell production. And also, again, healthy respiratory immune response. So we need to have that happen. We get that swelling and we get that mucus production to get things out. And we want to encourage that. We don't want to override our body's tools that it's using that has been our, human bodies have been using for a very, very long time. It serves a purpose. And we don't necessarily, as long as it doesn't get out of control, and I'm even including a fever in this aspect, as long as your fever doesn't get out of control, it serves a purpose. So we want to encourage that and help the body to do the job that it's meant to do. Now, if you go into any natural grocers and you ask them, and I would assume, I'm making an assumption here, but I think I'm probably right on this. If you were to go to pretty much any natural grocers and ask, what is your most popular herbal supplement for the immune system? Kick-Ass Immune is going to be the answer that I assume pretty much everybody is going to be giving. And so this is the immune blend. It's my favorite. It's definitely the one that I recommend. I would assume at almost any natural grocers, this is going to be the most popular. So it's a name you're going to remember. That was a clever idea on their part. Kick-Ass Immune is the adult one. The G-rated version for kids is the Kick-It Immune. Both wonderful products. I use the Kick-Ass myself and use the Kick-It for my children. And so one of the things that you're going to notice on this label is that it says Kick-Ass Immune Activator. So this is crucial for when we're in that early phase of not feeling well, and we really need to just activate our immune system. So this is going to be a blend of herbs made by just an absolutely brilliant herbalist. And it's going to have the echinacea in it, but quite a few other herbs that are going to have a lot of respiratory support. And it's going to work with our body's own systems to help them work more effectively at getting, things out that need to be gotten out, and just really support the system all over. So really, really great option, and I love it. Another option we were thinking for herb, and we've got a lot of great herbs, and again, we had to kind of narrow it down to keep the class on time. And oil of oregano was the other one that Shelby and I had agreed on as being just really useful, very effective, something that you can get at all locations. And I agree. So I like oregano oil when I'm having some respiratory concerns, and it has this unique phenols, including thymol and carbachol, that is going to be really good for just respiratory support. So it has, as you can imagine, a very strong smell to it. It smells like pizza. So it's not a bad smell, but it is a very strong smell. And because they all tend to be in their oil form, I wouldn't do this one on an empty stomach, because I have in the past, and then you get those oregano burps. So it's not pleasant. I'd make sure to take it with some food. I probably wouldn't do this one on an empty stomach. The Kick-Ass Immune you could definitely do on an empty stomach, but with all of these, make sure that you're also hydrating with it. I mean, these are supposed to work as an expectorant to get things moving, and it just can't do it if your body is super dehydrated. So find ways to keep yourself hydrated, but kind of keep that in mind for the oregano. Even my desk smells like oregano because it's sitting on there, and that lets you know how strong it is. That is a powerful one, and when you're really stuffy, that really helps to kind of open things up. So I like it in the capsule form. I think Gaia makes a beautiful product, and I'm a really big fan of theirs. And there's quite a few other ones to choose from. This is the one, so this is a nasal spray, and it is intense. This isn't a nasal spray for everybody. If I were thinking of just a regular everybody nasal spray that can be used on a daily basis, I like the Xylitol Clear, XLEAR Clear one. But if I'm thinking for one when, for timely use, not necessarily long-term, the oregano one is the one that I'm thinking of. Because when we think about it, our sinuses have no circulation going through there. And so if we get something kind of stuck in there, then we're drying out, and then our body's trying to make all this mucus to move it out. If we're not moving it, if we're not hydrating it to get it moving, then that's how, what starts as a virus can then turn into a bacterial infection. Even what starts as I'm having allergies, if we can't get that mucus to move, then, we can start getting bacterial, overgrowth inside there. So we need things that are going to help to hydrate it and move it. So I like using neti pots, I think, are good. Nasal sprays, having a humidifier in your house, just finding ways to just really stay, hydrated and moisturized and get that circulation going and get it going early. Because if you get that caught up in your sinuses, that's where it can definitely become really problematic. So the things that I also might suggest too is when we're thinking about our timely supplements, elderberry, our Kick-Ass Immune, our oregano, these are things that we really need to use early and often. And when you first start feeling like you're coming down with something, you don't want to have to go out to your grocery store to buy what you need. These are the things I highly suggest that you already have at your house ahead of time, so that the first sign that you feel like you're getting sick, you can start consuming it very quickly. And that's the thing, is like they have you doing with this one, they have you doing 3 to 4 dropperfuls every 1 to 3 hours for a day or two. You really want to hit it hard and early to get the best results with it. So, because you got to remember, a virus's one and only function is to replicate as quickly as possible. So you want to try to do what you can to support your immune system as early as possible before it gets overwhelmed. So that's why early, timely is going to be really important. And again, staying hydrated, I really can't stress that enough. This last one is, we can think of this as both daily or timely. Zinc, I tend to think of it 2 different ways. If I'm going to be taking zinc on a daily basis, I want to do it in a capsule form. And if I'm going to do it on a timely basis, this is where the lozenges are really going to be important, because the lozenges are going to end up sitting on your throat, just kind of like our elderberry. And that's where it really needs to have its important action, is it really needs to sit on your throat in order for it to work well. And what's interesting, so we see this, how we're saying studies show that zinc, both lozenges and syrups, are going to support immune function in the mouth, nasal passages, throat, and upper respiratory tract. And so the lozenges, what you'll notice is they have like a little bit of a astringent, I almost want to say metallic taste in your mouth, but it's a sign that it's working. And so it's a good thing. It's a sign that it's working, and that the zinc has created an electrical gradient in the respiratory tract, maintaining that cellular defense. So I found that to be really, really cool. So what I think of is daily, I'm going to do, or even just a couple of times a week, I'm going to take zinc in a capsule form. But when I feel like I'm getting sick, and I need that timely support, that's when I'm going to do the lozenges. And if you go into your local natural grocers and you're trying to decide which one am I going to want as far as a lozenge goes, we're going to have 2 main options. So you can get your lozenge that comes loose in a bottle. This is the one that I really like. This is made by Now, and it's elderberry and zinc together. So 2 of my favorite ones that I think of for timely support. This one, it also does have a little bit of echinacea. It's got a little bit of bee propolis, slippery elm bark, which is just phenomenal for our mucosal membranes. I really like it. And so with this one, they're just loose inside the bottle. So you just keep them inside the bottle. And I'm just going to slowly, have them in my mouth. I'm not going to just pump them and swallow them. You really want it kind of sitting there. So this one is definitely one of my favorites because it does combine the 2. My other option is this one here. So this is Zand, and it's another elderberry zinc. I really do like this combination. These are individually wrapped. So if I want to have a couple in my purse, a couple in my office, a couple at home, maybe even a couple in my car, these might just travel a little bit easier than, and they won't be, they'll be a little bit easier to maintain than just the bottle itself. But one of the things that I really, really like about this one is these guys are sweetening it with brown rice syrup, and which isn't especially sweet, but is really, really soothing for the throat and for the lungs. So it's like if you're getting that tickle in your throat and everything, just having that brown rice syrup is going to be an efficient way to help soothe that. And what we don't want to be doing when our immune system is compromised is adding in sugar. This is going to be one of the worst things that we could be doing. So whether it's in a syrup or, Gatorade, the Gatorade tends to be the thing that people tend to think of when they get sick and they need, to hydrate. And it's like what started off as this really brilliant idea, which Gatorade was made originally for the Florida Gators. So imagine the football team. So imagine how hot it would have to be for them and their need for it. So it started off as this really great idea, but has turned into a product that isn't very high quality anymore. And so but we understand the importance of staying hydrated. And so my favorite hydration option, aside from the FRCs, I do like the ones with vitamin C, but if I want to hydrate without the vitamin C, Ultima is going to be my top choice, just because it's powder, so you're getting nowhere near the amount of waste as if you were getting a pre-made drink. And also the neat thing about it is you can put more or less depending on what your taste preferences are. And like the FRC or Emergencies or one of those, it tastes really good, so it just gets you to drink more water. It just helps you to stay hydrated. And so definitely a big fan. So sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there. But like I said, with our zinc, we want our daily, we want the capsules or tablets. On our as needed, we're going to do the lozenges, and we're going to let it sit on our throat so it can really do its job well. Selenium is going to be the other one that's really important. And the reason why for both zinc and selenium, a deficiency severely decreases the ability of the immune system to function. So these are things that have their timely benefits, but these are two minerals that we really want to think of ahead of time. And selenium, we should be getting through the diet through our foods that should be grown in selenium-rich soil. The problem is most of our soil does not have very much selenium in it anymore. And so you could be eating Brazil nuts. You can have 1 Brazil nut a day, 1 to 2 Brazil nuts a day as a way to help boost your selenium. Multivitamins will typically have it in there, but studies have shown that selenium deficiencies actually allow the virus to become stronger. So these are really, zinc and selenium are these really important minerals that we want to think of as having ahead of time. So because the deficiency of them can really compromise our immune system. So zinc, you can get that through food sources through oysters. Not a big fan of oysters myself, so I'm not really going to do that. Pumpkin seeds are another good way to do that, but that's where I think a lot of people struggle to get zinc through just dietary and food choices. This is where supplements might just make it a little bit easier. And like I said earlier, if you notice that strange, kind of astringent metallic taste to the zinc lozenges, that's a sign that it's working, and that's a good thing. So kind of wrapping this up together, it's like these are definitely a great summary of all the ways that we can really support the health of the whole host. These are all things that we can really do. And really, because the immune system works so closely with the rest of the body, we want to think about how can I support my body as a whole? How can I really find balance in my life and balance out maybe the client and the environment that I'm living in? So for you at home, let's put this all together. What is this going to mean for you? What are the new changes that you need to make in your life to help support your immune system? And really, what are the changes I need to make my body stronger that are definitely going to help to support my immune system? First thing we're going to do, the easiest thing we're going to do is, again, sit up straight, roll back your shoulders, and take a deep breath. And take that. One of the ways that I help to train myself is remember 4. So I'm going to breathe in always through my nose. We got all these great little filters inside our nose. So I'm going to breathe in through my nose for a count of 4. I'm going to hold it for 4. And I'm going to breathe out for a count of 4. And I'm going to do this 4 times. So this could be something before I start exercising. I can do that. When I'm stressed out, I can do that. If I'm stuck in traffic and it's driving me crazy and I'm really, I'm taking my anger out on other people, this is something that I can do that is physically going to change my body. I mean, just doing this breathing is physically going to change my body and help with my stress, really help me to focus. So that's probably the easiest thing that we can all do at any point in time. But, you have to be aware of it for it to really start registering it. So pay attention to your posture. Pay attention to how you're breathing. Let's have that be the thing that I think all of us would really benefit from. And then let's use our food as a way to kind of balance the environment that we're living in. So since I live in such a dry, cold, windy climate, I'm going to use my foods as a way to help hydrate my body. So I'm going to do this time of year. That's going to mean I'm not going to eat a whole lot of raw, cold foods. I'm really going to focus on warm broths and soups and teas and things like that. I have to run a humidifier in my house 24/7. I have a lot of house plants that'll help to kind of hold in the humidity and clear out the air. NASA did some really interesting studies on how house plants can clear out the air inside your home. And it's like the most effective house plants at it are the ones that are the easiest to grow. So your snake plants, your spider plants, rhododendrons, philodendrons, peace lilies, these ones that are just thrive on neglect. I love those. They're the ones that are the most efficient at clearing out your air and really holding on to that humidity inside your house. It's what clears our atmosphere. It's what creates oxygen in our atmosphere. Why not help support our own little internal atmosphere? So I add my humidifier. I got my house plants. I use my nasal sprays, especially now that I'm having to wear a mask all the time with my job. An important thing that I need to do, but it really dries out my sinuses. And then living in Denver doesn't help. So as I said, I like the little xylitol nasal spray just as a way to help moisturize and clean things out. Electrolytes just to help making me, keep me hydrated. Teas, all of this all throughout the day, definitely going to be important. You need to find ways to get movement and exercise that you enjoy, preferably outside, and exposing yourself to the elements and getting yourself kind of uncomfortable when it's really cold and stuff. That strengthens your body. So being too much in climate controlled environments is going to kind of make us a little bit weaker. So we want to kind of get in the cold and get a little uncomfortable, because that's what will get you moving faster, but it'll also kind of strengthen your body. Find the supplements that may support your diet. And I think Natural Grocers has so many great affordable options there. I want to think, if you feel sick, stay home. Like don't go to work, call in. And what is the main thing that all doctors and nutritionists, that all of us agree on, is if you feel sick, get rest and stay hydrated. Those are going to be the two most important things. Let your body do the job that it is designed to do, but it can't do its job if you're working and then you're possibly, exposing other people to what you've got. Take the time to stay home and rest and hydrate, because you're going to get through it much faster if you do. If you try to push it and say, oh no, I can still work, I can still do these other things, then it's your immune system is going to have to work harder, which means you're just going to be doing this much longer. So stay home and allow your immune system to do the job that it's supposed to do. Support the health of the whole host, and that's how we're going to have the healthy immune system function. And so when we take these steps to support our immune system and educate others to do the same, we can work towards enhancing the community immune competence. So this is sound, timely, will do no harm, and potentially do a lot of good. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Thank you so much for staying with me and talking about easy, simple ways that we can support our immune system.
Thank you, Charmaine. Great and extremely useful information. I personally loved all of your helpful tips. I'm going to be buying Cara oranges. But before we end, just a reminder that in addition to offering classes like these, our nutritional health coaches are also available for free virtual coaching sessions. These hour-long sessions are a great resource for those of you looking for additional support and tailored nutrition recommendations. For more information on Natural Grocers or to request a virtual coaching session, be sure to visit us at naturalgrocers.com. Thanks for joining us today, and hope to see you again soon for another virtual nutrition education class.
All right. Thanks, Shelby.
Thanks, Charmaine.